Hello, everyone. Ian Iliona here. Where do I even begin? Because yesterday was kind of lovely. Today was PTSD trigger after PTSD trigger. I ordered from Uber, and it's all female, whatever. But my thing is, I don't care who delivers it. I just, I'm trying to put that barrier up so I don't freak out. So, three women came, three women delivered. I received my stuff. Pretty much end of story. But then, because of the time of day, you know, the staff is all female. It's just how that job kind of shakes down. So, I had two encounters where, just like way too close, like way too close. But I did my part and I backed the fuck up, went my separate way and said, yeah, just do your thing. It was only when I went to retrieve my stuff, and of course, it's, where it is. So I had a woman blocking my stuff. And at first, I'm trying to be polite about it. I wait and wait. And then, I just say, no, I don't have to be polite about this. Like, you know, that's someone's stuff that you're right by. And you know that, somebody, because nobody really wants that. Excuse me. Excuse me. Can I just rub this on you? It's like nobody wants that. Okay. Nobody wants that kind of stuff. Like the only time that that is kind of appropriate is when barely appropriate is when you're in like a bar or a club or something where it's supposed to be bodies on bodies on bodies on bodies all the time. But if you're in just regular space and it is daytime, like no thank you. So there's that. So I say my signature line of we'll be right over here. And she got her moment and she's like, oh, it's just like, really, you're gonna be dramatic about it. You're gonna be dramatic. Like, I don't feel sorry for you. Like, you blocking my stuff. Like, what do you think? Like, where that is, that could only be somebody's stuff. And even if someone told you, I'll be right back or whatever, you have to say to yourself, oh, but then again, they don't teach spatial awareness to people. It's not a skill that they deem is important for young people to know. So when they get older, they just say to themselves, well, fuck it. I have money. I can do whatever the fuck I want. It's like, no, you can't. Because you block me from my stuff, you're going to get some words thrown your way. And I don't want to be that person who throws words, but some words were going to fucking fly out my mouth that will, begin with F and then, the C word might have fucking, come out. And this is like nothing to do with the PTSD. It's legitimately like, why the hell are you blocking my stuff? Anyway, she got the message and she fucked off. But she had to fuck off directly in my path, so she had to come closer to me. And it's just like, why are we doing this dance? Why are we doing this dance? It's like, okay, do I need to have a sign or a picket or something that I can carry around to explain to random females, look, your country fucked up. The reason I can even be here right now is because your country fucked up, because your country continues to fuck up. That's why. So do your part and don't fuck up. Now, granted, some women decided to take pity on me. I don't know why. Just, some women decided to take pity on me. and try to do nice things for me. And like I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But could your nice thing be just an understanding of stay back? Although in the case of like what just happened like a few minutes ago, I have to say to myself, well, that was my fault. When it's my fault, I will take responsibility for it. But if you park yourself there knowing that I would do that, then like what the fuck is that? You see, that's the issue that I have. If it was just my bad, my fault, my fault, my fault. I could accept that, but I don't live in a place where things happen by accident. I live in a place where things, happen all the time. And like I said, if I was this huge celebrity, which I'm not, if I was a huge celebrity, I could understand it, but I'm not. I'm just a veteran who does art therapy by distributing music. That's all. It's a lot nicer than crying or hurting myself or anything like that because I'm extremely depressed. It's like this isn't the life I wanted. I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to help people. I wanted to be a part of my community. I wanted to be a hero to my community. But the American government sexually abused me, and that just derailed everything because it's a little hard to study for the MCATs when you're trying to figure out why you're fucking homeless when you're sexually abused. You're homeless, but you're sexually abused. And you're looking at yourself going, how many of these fucking doctors do I have to fucking see in order to stop being homeless? I'm still fucking homeless. That's the problem. Like, that still hasn't changed. But I'm looking at the situation, and maybe it is because I'm Native American. Maybe it is because deep down in my blood, it just doesn't fit well to be in one place and put down roots because it just doesn't make sense. Native Americans for the longest time up until the white people fucked their lives up, they would put down camps. They would say, this is kind of our area here. Kind of. They didn't have such an attachment to it. Why? Because, you know, animals moved and they were hunters. So if the deer went over there, they weren't gonna say, well shit, I'll stay here. It's like, no, the food's over there. And the food kept moving. So they had to keep moving. Or shit, there's a disease over there. We're gonna fucking move. And that attitude is intrinsic to who I am as a person. And I almost wish that, I mean, honestly, there's a small part of me that says beyond the PTSD, these are all people who look like me or in a way related to me. So as much as I'm freaking out because of the PTSD, I'm also saying, well, shit, aren't you like a cousin? So whatever I'm going through in my existential crisis, whatever, at least I know who I am inside, and I feel a little sad sometimes when I see people who look like me, and they're just in menial positions, and you're supposed to ignore them because it's unseemly to think of them as people. And it's like that's a shitty way to look at life. A shitty way to look at people who look at you and say you're just as brown, you're just as Native American as I am. Probably more so because you're actually living the life of a Native American, an indigenous person, a First Nation. Because I refuse to put down roots. I'm trying to save as many gay people in San Francisco as possible because I think that's what unhappiness truly is. It's not knowing who you are inside. And I'm not saying that everyone would benefit from, running around in a fucking loincloth and chasing deer. But if there's a part of your life where you say, I'm anxious all the time, I'm anxious all the time, are you anxious just because you're traumatized, or are you also anxious because your body wants to be free? Your body wants to run around and chase things and feel the sun and the wind and listen to just bird song all day and just be part of that. But you can't because you're just stuck indoors all day. And there's a part of me that says I'm making a huge mistake by making an office, a little temporary forward operating base. But we're at a position where I don't know if any of this is getting through. So I'm just hoping. Anyway, we're at a position where someone has to fight for the position of Surgeon General. For too long, we've had Surgeon Generals who were medical doctors that did not give a fucking shit about the public. So when it came down to the CDC and whatnot, there was no check. There's no check and balance for the CDC. I cannot stress that enough. You put so much faith in your government. I put faith in my nipples, which are out, by the way, in case you want to look. There they are. There's no checks and balances for the CDC. So when the CDC makes huge errors, or when they back down from a fight, which is what they did with the recent pandemics. Oh, going all the way back to HIV to monkeypox. There's been a series of CDC has just never been equipped for that. They spend the tax dollars that they receive in order to do conferences where they say, okay, now we got the plan, we got the plan. So yeah, turn to page 132. And as you see right there, I mean, here's the emergency services, here's, the budget that we have for this. And oh yeah, we're gonna have alternating days and all that. And it's all on paper. It's all on paper. But when you put it into practice, it is just chaos. It is chaos. And you know who suffers from that? It's not the CDC because, for the most part, if you get a job like that, congratulations, you're in a fucking bunker and you're in a lab and you closed off and you know all the protocols. So, the likelihood of you getting sick is just nil. But the rest of the population, they're losing the fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters, and they're losing their children because they're highly susceptible to communicable diseases. And the CDC, just shrugs. They don't apologize because why would they? Why would they? It's an act of God. It's act of nature. It's God's will. It's like really, you're going to say that to someone with an itty bitty coffin because that small box can fit their child. You can say that to them. I refuse. I refuse. I say you keep fighting. I say you make changes. We're a technologically advanced society that could be better if we just accepted the fact that we have technology. Half of the people or more that were infected because we're still of the mindset of hi, how are you doing, and we get all up in each other's faces, and we still shake hands. And I don't get that. I really don't. I shook the hand of the guy that I just blew, but I knew I was gonna blow him. So if I'm not able to fucking shake your hand, I'm probably not gonna want to suck your dick. Luck of the draw. Like I knew that he was trying to shake my hand because he wanted me to suck his dick, and I was gonna shake his hand because I wanted to suck his dick. So, it was something we both agreed upon. But other than that, I don't shake people's hands, mostly because I don't want to blow everyone. And, chicks don't have dicks. Normally. Normally. Speaking of which, I have to at least hold on, smoothie break. I have to mention the bait and switch because they're all about the rewards. All about the rewards. It's like we're trying to desensitize you to the fact that women are going to be your huge fans. It's like fans of what? Fans of what? Like I make terrible fucking music. I'm not even an actor. I'm just a pretty boy with a beard who wears bandanas, dangly earrings today. Like I don't get it. But it's all about the risk and reward. So as soon as the female goes, oh, I'm blocking your stuff. And she walks off, I grab my stuff. And as I turn around, I see white wigger. I'm sorry, there's no other way to call it. Like white thug, maybe it's a nicer term. That wigger was right in front of me, waiting for the elevator, holding some sheets, and all I could see is he was wearing glasses, so he was a nerdy thug with, bad eyesight. I'm like, I'm about it. And he had a neck tattoo and he was pale. And I was like, you must have got that neck tattoo in fucking juvie. You're such a baby, such a baby. But anyway, I didn't give him the time of day. But I mean, if I got verification that he could buy me some liquor, then I would be like this. I would be like this because it's just like I'm all about White Thug Seed. I don't know why. I don't know why. It's because I grew up with Eminem and I wanted to fuck him so badly. So yeah, I and Fred Durst at the same exact time. I had a really active imagination. But yeah, I saw this White Thug in the lobby, and I just the fantasies, and it's like I couldn't really say it because he's like he mumbled something, and I was just like, pain like right there. It's just what am I supposed to do? I mean, like it's a white thug that wigger and it's just like I want to drink that. I want to drink it. I want to drink it all. It's just like smoothie break. I'm sorry. I'm about it. Bro, what is you doing? LSD, trip music. Let's make some LSD. What is you doing? I'm talking about white cock. In addition to PTSD and Native Americanism and oh yeah, public health because it's an important issue in America. So I don't know. If you need an amendment to change how you decide, who shall be the Surgeon General, then fine. Dude, I don't know what to tell you. I don't have like my rainbow flag, but if you can peer into the astral plane, you will see the rainbow and the sparkles and the feathers and everything. Yeah, it's the only topic you should be discussing on YouTube. Like, you could be discussing video games, but you reach an age where you say, I could fumble with a joystick, or I could get my joystick fucking blown, or I could blow a nice, big, juicy joystick. So, yeah. I mean, I want to blame my PTSD. Oh, LSD. I remember you now. Okay, okay. It's been a while since I've been on YouTube. Okay, so in March, yeah. So what happens is, you see, I'm terrible in English. I'm just such a scallywag. Either way, I own my own space agency. I own Mars now. The only issue I have is I have to convince people to join my Antarctica expedition because I'm going to Antarctica and I would like to take as many people with me as possible, not only to be lab assistants, but also experience what life could be if you didn't have to deal with the bullshit that America puts you through. What if you didn't have to deal with traffic? Think about that for just a second. Think about that. Think about a life where you said to yourself, I don't have to get into car for any bullshit. My bunk is a functional fucking bed. Functional. It is nice. It is fucking comfy. I am by myself. I have privacy. I want to fap. I can enjoy that. That is real life. That is what you could have outside of whatever this shit that America's putting you through. What if you didn't have to deal with excess taxes? What if food was food? Maybe it's not the same exact formula that you're used to, but chicken is chicken, bacon is bacon, water is water. Yeah, I actually own my own space agency, kind of like Elon Musk, except Elon Musk owns SpaceX and I own Mars now. But I own my own space agency. So I want to use my time for the next month because I have my own office to I know it's like, well, what are you gonna do with the office? It's like I'm gonna try and talk to as many people as possible and explain to them now is the time to fucking pull out. Now is the time to gather your shit, the things that America forces you to buy because you are a consumer. Grab your shit and get the fuck out of there, especially if you're gay, because you're gonna let your life be dictated by a fucking breeder who doesn't give a shit about your health and has the mindset of, well, if you don't survive, your kids will. Or if your kids don't survive, you can have another. That's the attitude of a breeder. That's the attitude of them. My attitude, because I am gay, is human life is precious. How'd you manage to get a company? Dude, it's called money. Oh, I was sexually abused by the American government. So I used that money to say, yeah, I'm going to fix the parts of America that I don't agree with. I can't change all of America, and I don't intend to. I'm just trying to. Yeah, they actually started paying attention to my YouTube videos because it was all about bitching and moaning every day. A woman walked by me, bitch and moan for 2, 3 hours, then do another show for 2 to 3 hours. A woman walked by me, a woman tried to break into my apartment. I did a whole week on a woman trying to break into my apartment, which is some serious shit. But yet still, stuff that a regular person would say, well, she's probably a fucking crackhead, so I called the police and the police handled that shit. But after so many of those and the petitions and the petitions and the petitions and documented evidence of, well, shit, yeah, there really is a problem with hyper aggressive women trying to grope you in public. There's a pattern and you can see it on the camera. So, yeah, thanks, man. Thanks. I appreciate that. I know it's not something everyone do. If the whole idea of there's some women in life who just want to abuse you, but Master Sergeant Miranda of the United States Air Force sexually abused me at Lackland Air Force Base in 2018 and sent me to a hospital. And Airman Rose, who was right there, wouldn't go for help. He stood at attention as she sexually abused me. So I have huge trust issues after that. Huge trust issues. That hasn't dampened my American spirit, unfortunately. In fact, it probably ramped it up because I say, you disgusting fucking idiots ruined everything. Because what I really wanted was to challenge Elon Musk in my nice Air Force officer uniform. I'm denied that. I'm denied that. I can't believe this. All I want to do is wipe the floor with Elon Musk and his SpaceX, but I can't do that in an Air Force uniform. I have to do it with my nipples out like a rock star. It's so embarrassing, but I'm going to do it anyway. No, no, no. You see, this is the American government that we're talking about here. So to go through the whole thing, which is really disturbing, but I was having an argument with a fellow airman because he was saying some homophobic things. So I'm me. So I said, I literally excommunicate you from talking to me. We have to share a barracks for this time being, but if you're going to say homophobic shit, you can't speak to me at all. And the flight leader, whatever I'm out of the military. I don't even fucking know what his title was. But anyway, some uppity white person saw the exchange and said, "Fuck it! Now the two of you are gonna walk with me to a military tribunal." And you know what they did? The one who called me a homophobic, he didn't get any punishment. But me, because I'm dark, they decided, yeah, okay, so we're gonna sit you into this room as your punishment and we're going to put a female in charge of you. Now, this is the second time that they did this because they see the dark skin and the beard and they're like, we're going to treat you like an Arab. So, yeah, they did some Guantanamo Bay shit where here I am, me, I'm a nerd. So I said, well, fuck it. I get a fucking desk and, I can do my fucking math homework because I was about to get some college credit for just sitting in that room. So I said, you want to be bitches about it? I'm like, fine. Let me do my calculus homework while this woman watches me. And every day up until that point, I had to walk around her, and if I had to speak to her at all, I give that reporting statement, and it's just like it was business as usual. Like there was no reason for her to engage with me, but that day, she decided to request a sexual act from me. I refused. I turned to my fellow airman, and my airman just put his hands behind his back parade rest and pretended like I wasn't even there. Now, this was a dude who, up until that point, like we were walking together, we were talking together, like not even the day before. I kid you not, the day before we were eating some MREs and this motherfucker, was just, laughing and having a good time with me. And, we heated it up together and, we're eating it. We're discussing flavors. Everything's cool. But when I needed an American to support an American and protect an American, that's when America decided not to. So I ended up in the hospital because he wouldn't stop the sexual abuse. They had to get an ambulance for me. An ambulance picked me up, brought me to the hospital. I told them what happened. They sent an officer, rabbi, to come and speak to me and counsel me on, can you put up with stupid people? I'll give you an officer salute because you're clearly an officer. You took the AFOQT. You're smarter. You have a college degree already. You're an officer. Like, I'll give you an airman salute for that because you're an officer and you should know that you are. But that's what they did. They gave me a pat on the back after being sexually abused instead of sending the goddamn police to investigate it. So years go by. I am homeless, off and on, just drinking heavily, heavily, because, how else am I going to cope? Try to get a job, get fired from a job, drunk, and doesn't really want to work with women. Keep moving, live in this city, live in that city, have to keep moving, have to keep moving. And then finally, I get to California, and California was like, no, we'll show you sexual abuse. We'll show you. And so they fucking sexually assault me on a bus. I had some woman, and it's like, hey, hey, hey. And then because I wouldn't respond to her, he just grabbed it. Just grabbed like all in my area. And it's just like I screamed. I screamed. I said no. And then the rest of the people on the bus, they're just looking at me like, oh, we got another crazy veteran, a crazy veteran. It's like, no, I was just sexually assaulted by a woman who wouldn't take no for an answer. So when I freak out and be like, nah, I don't need you near me, it's because women in this country do not take no for an answer. Fuck the Me Too movement if you're not gonna fucking take responsibility for your shit. Okay, Me Too should include some guys too, because I don't care if your clique got a boner and it thinks that it can operate the arms and grab whatever the fuck you want. I remember reading about how Terry Crews, this huge muscle guy, and he does the peck dance and he's famous for it. And he's so happy, he's so jovial, but he had to be honest and say, yeah, I have women celebrities who are just like honk honk and then just grab him, grab his butt, feel his muscles. And it's just number one, like I don't know if he's married, but he probably has a partner or something. And like you don't want that. And also, he's a celebrity. It's just like respect the man. When he does the peck dance for the television, and it's just like ha 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 ha. Oh, ooh, sexy, sexy. That's for the television. That's not him outside the fucking studio. But people lose their goddamn minds when they see someone who they think is attractive or they think that they can get away with. So I'm gonna go to some of your comments because I don't want to. Yeah, so yeah, the higher ups did nothing. There was never a military tribunal. There was never a reprimand for it. I went to her boss and I said, that woman is never to speak to me. That woman is never to talk to me at all for anything. Not even to look in my direction. I looked that black man in his face and I said, that woman never fucking comes near me again. Never comes near me, never looks at me again. Master Sergeant Miranda is fucking un un-American bitch. Now, I don't care if she was ordered to do it. I had that conversation with her higher up because I had a right to. I, of course, had a right to. What I should have done was followed up with the police over it because I was like, no, I really should. But I had a lawyer. I had a lawyer at that Air Force base. And that lawyer was like, oh my God, well, we're going to have to talk about this. We're going to have to take care of this. But they said, really? Okay, well, we'll just ship you home. So this way we can avoid the whole lawsuit thing. By the way, I'm still suing them. So yeah, I'm still suing the American government over it because the loss of wages that I would have had if I hadn't been sexually abused and derailed, I would have been a doctor. I am medically fucking trained. I don't have a license. So what the fuck do I do with that? I'm an epidemiologist who has to explain to people how to fight a pandemic, and I don't have a license. So you can talk to the people who have licenses, but they fucking failed you. I don't have a license. I don't want to fail you. So yeah, I have to see the American government in court over this because they owe me my medical degree. He just stood there. Oh, the time he needed a hand. Now, I needed him to be a decent person. And I know that that is hard to do when the pressure's on. And, he was worried about his job. His job. And by the way, he got a promotion out of that. Explosive ordnance disposal. Hope he was really good at that job too. Now, think as a man, if you were put your hands there, gone. Exactly. When men overreach because they have no game or whatever, and they're just like, let me just look. You're gonna say no anyway. Let me just grab a titty for 2 seconds. It's just like, and you're supposed to go, ha 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 ha. Ha. It's like, no, 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 you're not. You're supposed to fucking punch that man in the face. You see, if I had punched that old bitch in her face for fucking grabbing me down there, grabbing my penis, you know what? I would be in jail. But you know what? I would be justified because I would say, put me in jail for the night, and then you pull the camera, and that camera will show that woman grabbed me. I was more than justified. And they could always say, well, I mean, it's just someone grabbing your crotch. I mean, it's not like she stabbed you or something. It's like, no, no, that woman needed to be taught a lesson right then and there. Fuck the law. That woman needed to be taught a lesson right then and there. You don't grab someone sexually without their permission. And you shouldn't even be grabbing someone sexually because there's a difference between grabbing someone sexually and being aggressive, assertive in bed. You shouldn't even use the word aggressive. It should be assertive in bed with a consenting partner. I'm just trying to take the bus, and this woman grabs me. No, no. All right, yeah, you're right through push it out, but the issue is as a man, as a working man, you won't get far. It's really hard as a man to deal with this kind of stuff because the onus is always on men to behave and to act properly, but women, the same rules do not apply. But either way, uh, Mars Now is my space agency. It's a non-profit. It's a public option where I am lowering the bar because NASA and SpaceX, they're all about you got to have a PhD or you got to be part of the military in order to be part of our program for the most part, or have a degree that specifically pertains. It's like, no, you can't keep doing that because we need to get Americans out of suburbia. Americans have been stuck in suburbia for far too long. They've gone native in a way, but in a bad way. Like they've gone native like a pet. They haven't gone native like an indigenous person. They treat themselves like pets. When you're young, they tell you, oh, you didn't get a high enough grade in your class, you know what you're going to do? You're going to go to your room. You're going to go to your room and think about what you did until your productivity. And you see, this is where I really don't want to be American. I really don't, because I don't agree with that kind of parenting method of, if your productivity isn't high enough, go to your room. It's a punishment, as opposed to, if your comprehension of the subject material is poor, it's because you're not invested in it. So your punishment is, now I have to be invested in it. Now I have to learn about this. I don't know about the French American war, the war that Canada was facing. Oh my god. But I'll have to learn it. I'll have to learn it. But instead of actually being an active parent, a parent just says, you know what? You know what? Go to your room. Go to your room. And that's what people do. So they grow up and they get this idea that, oh, as long as I have that apartment, as long as I have these four walls, I'll figure it out. Or, the world is a scary place. There are those four walls, as opposed to, if the world is a fucking scary place, if there's something going on, just move. What I hate the fact that they delayed me going into my hotel room because I had to sit in the fucking lobby and listen to the news. But the news was, as usual, going through its boring things. But one of the things that they said was, there was some like criminal case or whatever in the area. And all I could say is, if I saw that on the television, the first thing that goes through my mind is, well, fucking leave the area. Clearly, there's something wrong with the area. People don't want to talk about spirituality. They don't want to talk about like demons and witches and vampires and werewolves. They don't want to talk about any of that shit. But when you hear that there's like a crime committed in that area, I almost consider that like a taint of a fucking demon. Like a taint of a fucking demon. And you should treat it as such. Now, I'm not exactly saying, you see like red and, people's eyes go black. It's like, no, some evil shit just fucking happened in that corner of the earth. Why the fuck do you want to live near that? Because clearly there was something wrong there. Either there were way too many poor people, or, there's way too much drugs, but there's something going on there. Move to the other fucking side of town. When they say, oh, a murder was committed in this, it's like, okay, pack the fucking bags, pack the fucking bags, time to go, time to go. It's like, you don't want to live near that. I love things like Buffy the Vampire Slayer because they're like, oh yeah, and there's a hellmouth underneath the city. It's like, no shit, no shit. Like, we can, talk about the external drugs, we can talk about this, we can talk about that, or we could just be spiritual. I'm Native American, so I don't give a shit. I will talk about the spirituality of it. You want to be able to say to people, no, in certain areas, it's just evil. Just evil in those areas. And those areas that are actually good. Find me that town. Find me that one town where the news says the sun shone. Now back to you. Tell me that town, because that's the town I want to live in. Show me the town where the news has to say grass is growing. Back to you. I want to live there. Okay. I want to live there because I don't want to live next to, oh, yes. And the blood was just pouring down the walls. It's like, out the door. Grab the luggage, grab the kids, grab your computer, grab your phone, grab everything. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. That's what you should be doing. When the news tells you shit like that, or they say, police shot an unarmed black person, it's like, get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. Like, why the fuck are you living there? Why the fuck are you living there? But Americans don't think that way. They just keep saying, well, four walls. I got a meal. It's a happy meal. I got a meal. Oh my God. KFC, KFC. Oh yeah, I'm living the life. I'm living the life. News comes and you just say, fuck it. That wasn't me. That wasn't me. I don't want to live like that. I don't want to live like that. So my Mars now, I'm going to be doing Green Future Go. So my office is devoted to Green Future Go because I'm all about the conservation of werewolves, vampires, and mutants. Because those three classifications are people who don't fit into society and belong somewhere else. So when you start discussing that, you say to yourself, don't you have talents? Don't you have a purpose outside of whatever it is you're doing now? So if you do, let's get you the fuck out of there. Let's get you out of this cycle. You know, when you start paying rent, you get used to just paying it. You get used to people reaching into your purse, reaching into your wallet, taking your money out. You give them the money. You give them your money and you say, okay, well, for this money, I get this room. For this money, I get this house. For this money, I get this food. And if it's fine for you, if it's fine, great. But if there's any part of you that says, I don't think I'm getting the right end of the deal here, I think I'm actually just getting robbed, get out. If you have the chance, like you're in between leases, and that chick shows up on your news of, oh yes, and these two went on a murder spree across the neighborhood, or they're robbing houses, all across this neighborhood. Get the fuck out. Clearly, there's something wrong with that town, which is precisely why I'm leaving this one. But that's all I got. Just Mars now is hugely important to me. I'm reading some of the comments. I don't know if you're gonna come back, but you can always follow this later. What sort of degress do you have and stuff that may help you towards your space stuff? I'm a man with a plan. My plan is continue my research, which apparently is groundbreaking if it shows up in fucking video games. So continue my research, but in Antarctica. But I'm going to try and bring as many people as possible. I'm not trying to start a brand new country in Antarctica because you still have this one. But I'm hoping by at least doing this expedition to Antarctica that I can shake people out of their like cycles that are just like chains and cuffs holding you down, holding you hostage. I did a podcast recently about the fact that I just had sex. And like one of the major reasons why it's been so difficult is because I've I've just had so much PTSD, like bothersome PTSD that I say to myself, I don't go to a fucking gay bar. And I'm interested in dudes and I don't go to a gay bar. Because I say to myself, I want to be groped on the way to the gay bar. I don't want to be groped coming out of the gay bar. So I can't go to gay bars. And that the only way that I was going to have sex is if this guy, and I have to call him out, the guy pretty much followed me from the fucking lobby, or at least knew where I was in the lobby. He must have asked someone, because how else would he fucking know? Like he's checking keyholes, he's watching. But anyway, he blocks my doorway and he's pretending to tie his shoe just to say, "Hi, you're pretty." Pretty much. You want to see my tattoos? I'm like, hell yeah, I want to see your tattoo. But that was the only way that that was going to happen, because where else am I going to, talk to a guy that I don't have a woman just going, "Ee, ee." And it's just like, I have PTSD, unless you're a supermodel, I will fuck a supermodel woman. Look, if a famous actress or famous musician wants to get down and freaky with me, I'm about it. But these civilian, like regular, just home ec bitches, no. It's just like, no, no. Like you going out in broad daylight in California, you're just irradiated. You one of those super mutants. I don't want anything to do with you. Ghouls. Oh my god. So yeah, that was the only way that that was gonna happen. Like, extraordinary measures, and now that that's happened, it just made me realize that I can't allow PTSD get in the way of a fucking blowjob. Like, I have been thirsty for semen for fucking years, and all of this crying in the fucking shower, crying in the bed. Oh my god. Like, all this fucking nonsense because women keep fucking groping me, and I never talk to a guy, and I don't want to go on dates because that would be too awkward. Like, I have to stand up for myself. So it is what it is. I'm trying not to be rude about it, but I'm gonna be a fucking rude person about it, because there's some hot fuckable men. Neck tattoo, white thug right in front of me, and I didn't be like, "Then let me talk to you. Bala, bala." I didn't get to fucking mac on him whatsoever. I mean, honestly, like, you never know. You never know. I mean, he had a neck tattoo, so I'm guessing he had to be at least, it was okay. It was kind of well done, so I can say he's got to be early 20s. Because he had such a baby face.
Um, I don't know. If he was feeling it, I was feeling it. I might wanna I might wanna do that because, like I said, the last blowjob I had, that shit was fucking watery. I'm not getting my zinc. I'm not getting enough protein. Clearly, I was a spoiled vintage. Oh, mm, I want more. I want more. Smoothie Drake. Mm. I want to suck him so hard that the San Francisco Bay actually goes to low tide. Oh my god. I have a thing for white thugs. If you dress like early 2000 Eminem, but you have no rap talent whatsoever, give me your number. Oh my god. I'm so specific. Well, I guess it's because I'm so clean and proper and such a scally lad that I think about these thugs and be like, I don't need to talk to you. Like, I don't know. It's just like just come to my bedroom and have some fun times. Let me suck you off. But yes, the space agency continues giving people a purpose outside of their mundane lives towards something fantastic. like going to Mars elevates your people, it elevates your country. When you tell the American people, put down the fucking Sudoku puzzles and actually solve the math so that we can land on Mars and build a habitat there, it shows that you appreciate who they are and their daily sacrifices. But America doesn't seem to want to do that. I want to do that. So Mars now is going to be a public option space program. If you're willing to learn, I'm willing to teach because Mars is fuckable. Mars is like right there. Build a habitat and do whatever the fuck you want. We're so ready for this. We're ready for this. We're ready to be the next thing. And you can't be the next thing if you're spending all your time saying, I live every 4 weeks. Every 4 weeks. And then the cycle starts again. Cycles. Break that. Break that. Find out what you want to do with your life. You may not even want to be a colonist on Mars. You might just want to maybe learn some first aid, or you might want to learn about basic engineering, things you can use here on Earth. My space program has always been about you go to Mars, but the technology that allows you to go to Mars improves the life of the people who stay on Earth. I'm avoiding eating my food and I am hungry. So I'm going to enjoy my food. This has been the Ian Iligona podcast. Talk about everything, mostly about my high sex drive for white guys with tattoos and a thuggish appearance, but still like man on man action. Because, I be that hot boy. All right. Hope to see you on the next podcast.